Alright, so for number 3, we have a 0 with a multiplicity of 3, so that means x minus 0 to the third power, and then a radical 5 with a multiplicity of 1, so that means x minus square root of 5 to the first power. Now notice it says that the degree is 5, but when you look at the degrees here, I have 3 and 1, that's 4. But remember that a radical always comes with its conjugate. So even if they don't list it here, you need to know that x plus radical 5 is also a 0. So now that takes care of the degree. So now, and then the end behavior is down and up, so that means that the a value is positive because the right side is going to the top. So the graph, as you go from left to right, it's going to the top, it's going up. So the a is positive, so we don't have to add a negative in front of the first factor. Okay, so let's go ahead and multiply these two, and then simplify this one. This is just x to the third, and then this is x squared. The radical 5x and then minus radical 5x cancel out, and then square root of 5 times square root of 5 is 5, so it's minus 5. And then so now I'm going to give it a name. F of x equals x to the fifth, I'm distributing right here, minus 5x cubed. Okay, and there's your function. Okay, and this is an odd function because both powers are odd, both exponents are odd, so I know that it's going to be symmetric with respect to the origin. Okay, alright, so let's go ahead and plot the points we have. So 0, and that's the y-intercept, by the way, right? There is no constant, so it's 0. And then square root of 5, plug it into a calculator so you could get an approximate value. And it's about 2.6, I believe, the square root of 5. Sorry, take it back, 2.2. So it's going to be about here and about here. Okay? I'm going to calculate f of 1 because I don't have a point at that x value. And so 1 to the fifth minus 5 times 1 to the third, that's going to be 1 minus 5, which is negative 4. So the point 1, negative 4 is on the graph. So 1, negative 4 is here. And because I know that this function is odd, then that means that negative 1, positive 4 is also on the graph. Without even calculating it, you already know that. I mean, you should know that. So negative 1, 4 is right here. Okay, now I don't know if 1, negative 4 and negative 1, 4 are the highest and lowest points. We don't know that. And as a matter of fact, I plugged in the equation into Desmos, and it showed me that negative 1.7 and 10.4 were the highest points. So negative 1.7 is approximately, let's see, approximately right here. And then same thing, since it's odd, then I know that positive 1.7 and negative 10.4 are also on the graph. So 1.7, negative 10.4, approximately right here. Okay, so the graph is on the left side is coming in from the bottom. The cross is right there at negative 2, 0. It goes up here, comes back down, curves into 0, 0, and then comes down here, curves back up, right there, and there's the graph. Now the reason why it has this little curve right here, it's not straight through, but it kind of curves in like that, because remember this 0 is x to the third, so it has that same shape as x cubed. The tangent, you know, the y equals x cubed, it has that shape like that, like the S, long S shape like that curve, so that's why. Okay, and that's it. Now on the quiz tomorrow, you won't know like that the point goes up that high. So if tomorrow's quiz, all you have are these 2 points, right? So you would graph it up, curve it back down, and then curve it back up. So you would get full credit even though it's not 100% accurate. With the limited resources of, not having the technology there, this is enough. Knowing this information shows me that you understand, the end behaviors, you understand the multiplicity of the zeros, and you understand how to get an additional 1 or 2 additional points to get a more accurate graph. All right, number 4, it says that 0 and -2 both have a multiplicity of 1, so that means x minus 0 and x plus 2 both have a multiplicity of 1, and then -1 has a multiplicity of 2, so that means x plus 1 is raised to the second power. And if you count your x's, that's 4 of them, right? That's 2 right here because of the square, and then 1 there and 1 there. That's a total of 4, which is exactly what it says right here, degree 4. And then both ends go up, so that means that the a value is positive. Okay, positive 1. So I'm going to go ahead and just multiply this out. This is just x right here, right? So this becomes x squared plus 2x. And this one, remember the OOPS worksheet, it's not x squared plus 1, there's a middle term. So x squared plus 2x plus 1, because I get that from x plus 1 times x plus 1. Okay, this gives you the second parentheses, it gives you this. So now I'm going to use distributive property. Okay, so this times this is x to the 4th, then times that is 2x cubed, and then times that is x squared. Then I move to the next term right here. That's 2x cubed. This one times this one is 4x squared. And then this one times this one is 2x. So combine like terms, and I can now call it f of x is x to the 4th plus 4x cubed plus 5x squared plus 2x. Okay, and I already knew this because at the beginning they told you that 0 is one of the zeros, so I know that the y-intercept is going to be 0, 0, 0. So let's go ahead and plot the points. So I have 0, -2, and -1. Okay, it's gonna bounce off of -1, and it's gonna go through -2 and 0. So an additional point for this particular one, since they are both like there's no integer in between the zeros, you can just use what you know, like use the fact that the end behavior is up, up. It's both coming in from the top. Comes in through here. It goes to that -1, but remember the multiplicity is even, multiplicity of 2, so you know that it's going to bounce off. And it's going to go through the 0, and it's going to curve back up. So if you do this on a test or quiz without a calculator, without a graphing calculator, this is good enough. Okay, I don't want you to spend the time using like finding f of -1/2, let's say. That would tell you like a point right here how low it would be, but it's not even worth it. Just use Desmos if you need to have it. But for the quiz tomorrow, what I did here, on this video, that's enough.